Today we are taking a close look at the Carnaby HE2 equalizer from Cranborne Audio. Let's get started. Now the Carnaby HE2 equalizer is a very interesting equalizer because it doesn't use the traditional approach of using amplification to boost and cut different frequencies. What it's actually doing is incorporating saturation to add harmonic content and then using that to adjust the level of different frequency bands. So we have a 3-band EQ here. We have a low band, and that uses hard clipping, and that can do everything from a subtle sort of warming of those low frequencies to extending the sub bass down by adding even more harmonic content. Very interesting control. We've got our mid-range, of course, and the high frequency uses more of a smooth saturation to open up that top end and again add harmonic content that's going to bring out that brightness. Now we have other features of this EQ as well. You can operate it as dual mono, you can operate it as link stereo, or you can use it in mid-side configuration. Each channel has an insert point, so you can incorporate an external piece of gear, and that's switchable from the front panel. We also have high and low pass filters, so you can adjust that bottom end rumble. You can take out any super high frequencies that you might want to remove as well. The Carnaby HE2 is going to be useful on everything from individual tracks to complete mixes. Now I've got it inserted into a Pro Tools mix here so we can listen to some different things, because that's really the best way to hear what this equalizer can do. Now one of the beautiful things about the Carnaby HE2 is you can actually digitally control it from within your DAW using a plug-in, or actually it also has a standalone app that you can use for controlling it as well. It connects either by USB or by network with Ethernet. Now I've got it hooked up by USB-C to my Macintosh, and I've got the plug-in inserted into a channel here. Now that's just a control plug-in. All the processing is in the analog domain inside the hardware box itself. So let me just give you an idea of what we can do with a quick EQ on the overall mix. Here's our dry signal, or our unequalized signal. Now based on what I'm hearing here, that's sort of boomy on the bottom end, it's a little bit cloudy in the lower mids, and it certainly could use some brightness on the top end as well to open things up. So I've gone ahead and set those adjustments here. I brought our low frequency down, and by the way, as I turn a control here in the plug-in, you'll also see that it's moving on the hardware device as well. So we can watch that, or in fact you can do the opposite. You can turn a control on the EQ itself and it'll change inside the plug-in. You can also automate all those parameters from your DAW inside the plug-in. But getting back to what I was saying, I've set this up to drop a little bit of the low end. We've also dropped a little bit of that lower mid-range where again things are kind of cloudy, and we've opened up the top end. So I'll play this and engage the EQ for you. Now we can individually bypass the bands, so we can bypass the low frequencies, mid frequencies, high frequencies. I've got a little bit of low cut filter at 40 Hertz here. We can bypass that. We can engage the high cut filter. We can also engage and disengage that external insert point if we want to have an external piece of gear incorporated. And of course we have our input and output levels as well. These are our operating modes: dual mono, link stereo, which is how we've been doing it, where one set of controls controls both channels, and then we've also got mid-side processing available. Now let's look at the individual bands and what they're actually doing inside of our mix here. So if we turn off the high and the mid, we'll just leave the low frequency engaged. Now we'll jump to the mid frequencies. you can hear, those are very wide-ranging controls. In particular, the mid-range goes all the way from 200 hertz all the way up to 6200 hertz, so a very broad mid-control there. I was actually liking that. I hear about our 1996 setting. On our high frequencies, we have a broad range as well, all the way from 5 kilohertz all the way up to 25 kilohertz. Bring that back to where we had it set here roughly. On our high cut filter, extremely wide ranging, all the way up to 40 kilohertz, and we can drop that down to 8 kilohertz. On the low frequency, ranging from 18 hertz all the way up to 180 hertz. Part of what affects what happens here is how hard we're actually driving the circuit, because the harder we drive the circuit, the more saturation, the more harmonics we're going to be getting. And you can see that indicated on the lights here on the front panel as the signal comes in. So you can see there that the low frequencies are driving hard, and we're getting intermittent driving here on the high frequency and the mid frequency. It's still affecting what's happening. We're just not pushing those quite as hard. Now we can adjust that by increasing the input control, of course, and then we can control the output on that. You can push that into pretty hard saturation, or you can use it as a cleaner EQ as well. So there's a broad range of different tonalities from the equalizer itself. Again, entirely in the analog domain, but being digitally controlled from the plug-in, or of course you can use the hardware controls on the front panel. If you're looking for an equalizer that can give you a fresh approach to EQ and yet delivers outstanding results, I really recommend checking out the HE2 from Cranborne Audio. I love that it's got that plug-in control. Not only are you setting save with your session, but you can also do automation within the session as well, and yet you can still reach over and just grab a knob for good old intuitive EQ adjustments. For complete information on the Cranborne HE2 or any of Cranborne Audio's products, head over to sweetwater.com, or I highly recommend contacting your Sweetwater sales engineer to get all your questions answered and to find out more about this awesome EQ. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Mitch Gallagher from Sweetwater.